Hello, welcome back to Financial Fix with Sharnella. I want to thank you all for watching my channel. It is because of you I have a platform in which to speak on. So today we're going to talk about why I wrote this book, Help a Fool Spend His Money. I wrote this book because previously I was married. I'm remarried, but in 2018 my ex came to me and he said, Sharnella, did you realize we reached our goal? We're worth $1 million. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I don't feel any different. We reached the goal. I thought in that moment that, I probably should have been happier for myself. But instead, I was excited because then I could tell other people my journey of how I got to where I was. Because starting from nothing and building that kind of wealth, um, I thought was an amazing journey. And I knew a lot of people who were in um, poor financial situations. And so I thought, wow, because I've reached this particular level in my life, now I can go back and I can help those. And I can really tell a good story of how I got there. To every problem, there is a solution. We weren't adequately taught, most of us, by our parents. We weren't taught by the school system how to budget. So I had to spend many years teaching myself, making the mistakes that I don't want you to make. So the question is, what is the solution? The solution is that I'm looking for is I want to help you understand how to do what you were never taught. You should never feel ashamed for not knowing something, but once you know that you don't know, now you have a responsibility to learn. And that is what this book is intended to do. And this book is only 140 pages. It is an excellent book, and I think that you will have a great time reading it. I touch on the mindset. Before you can make any changes in your life and do anything differently, you have to retrain your mind. So right now, you may be more of a spender. You're disorganized with your finances. But now you recognize the fact that you need to make a change. Because maybe you're in a position where you want to buy a house, you can't buy one. Maybe you have a lot of credit card debt. Maybe there's a lot of student loan debt. And you're tired of waking up every morning thinking about this debt. You're tired of avoiding the phone calls that you get from creditors. You're tired of looking at your credit score plummet month after month, year after year, and you're serious about making a change. That is why I wrote the book. Because, I can't really explain why I want to help people other than it's just part of my nature. And for many years, I would give unsolicited advice. If I heard someone talking about their financial situation and maybe it felt pretty desperate for them, I would automatically start giving advice. And oftentimes people would listen, but they would listen for a moment. They might do one or two things that I suggested that they do, and then they stop. Because what generally happens is when the road gets tough, a lot of people stop doing the hard work. And so you have to first be willing to change your mindset. You have to move away from all of the things that you were taught that led you to the place where you are in an unhealthy financial situation. So you have to unlearn all of those things. So after I wrote the book, and I self-published it in 2024. So in 2018, I had the idea to write the book. And I knew that this was my calling. This was what I should be doing, what I needed to do. But due to various distractions, including a divorce, it set me back. And it took me off the path that I had intended to start on much sooner. And so after self-publishing the book at the end of 2024, here it is 6 years later from the first thought that I had to write the book up until actually following through with it. There was a long period of time that I was not helping people that needed my help. And so I kind of feel badly about that, but I can't go back and change the past. All I can do is move forward and help the people that are viewing me today, help the people who are listening to me today. So reading this book is a start, but oftentimes people get motivated. They say, oh, Shanola, this is an excellent book. It's a great book. They get motivated, and for a month or two, they start creating a budget. They start doing and implementing the things that I suggest that they do. But then after a few months, they fall off the wagon. And the reason being is because they have no discipline. So then in 2025, I thought, man, maybe the book isn't enough. The book is a starter that gets you motivated. But some people, and this is okay, but some people need someone to take them by the hand and to lead them. They need some sort of encouragement in order to help them change the patterns that they've created for themselves over the last 10, 20, 30 years. So we all create, some of us create good, healthy habits, and some of us create poor habits. So in 2025, I decided to offer my services as a financial coach. And so yes, I coach people privately, because coaching isn't something that I take lightly. I put a lot of time, attention into coaching. And some people initially they think, oh my gosh, I'm already in debt. I can't afford to pay you. Well, let's look at it like this. How many of you attended college or got some higher form of education? When you did so, you had to find a way to fund it, right? Because you understood that in order for you to progress forward from the position that you're in today, you had to educate yourself. You had to invest money in that education. And so it's no different from me as a financial coach. So my coaching services really aren't that expensive when you look at it over your lifetime, because the tips and the information that you're going to learn, the structure and the discipline that I will teach, once you learn it, you'll have it for life. And you can pass that information along to your family, your friends, and your children as well. So my coaching fee, as for a single person, we can either do 3 months or 6 months, but that coaching fee is $2,500. I coach couples as well. So my coaching fee for couples, if you do the accelerated program, it's 3 months. If you do the 6-month program, we kind of break up those lessons over a 6-month period. So we're not fast tracking you. You're kind of easing into learning how to become disciplined. For a couple, it's $5,000. For a single individual, it's $2,500. But again, the first thing that you would do is to start reading this book, because there is a wealth of information in here. And it's an easy read, and you can probably get through the book in about 2 weeks if you're diligent. 15, 20 minutes a day is really all it takes. When I was 15 years old, I had these big dreams and goals, right? Here I am, this poor kid with much of nothing. So I remember dreaming about living in a big home over 3,000 square feet. And again, this is not an actual dream, a sleep dream. This is a daydream. So I wanted to live in a 3,000 square foot home. I wanted to have a 6-figure savings, and I also wanted to drive a nice fancy vehicle. And at the age of, I think I was 25, at the time, I was married to my first husband with 1 child, and we were living in a 1,250 square foot home. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, we've got good money coming in. We make pretty good money, but this 1,250 square foot home, this is not my dream. And so I started visiting new construction homes, and I started daydreaming about us moving into one of those beautiful homes. And at the time, we only had about maybe $25,000 saved in the bank. And I thought, man, these homes are so expensive right now. $25,000 isn't enough for a good down payment. So I started thinking about, okay, how can I get what I want? So what I had to do was create a plan of action. I was working still contingent, and my ex was working full time, and I devised a plan where we could very easily live on one income, save a portion of his income and a portion of my income. So back then, 26 years ago, I thought, okay, let's start saving $1,000 a month. And I calculated how long it would take for us to save to put down 20% on our next home so that we can move into this big home. But more than that, I didn't want to just move into a big house and then end up house poor. I also wanted to be able to continue to save, continue to live below our means. So in essence, I wanted to move up to this big house, but at the same time, I still wanted to have plenty of money that we would put into savings in order to continue to grow our wealth. So one thing that most people don't think about, and I think sometimes people want to buy their dream home as the very first home that they purchase or the second home. Buying a small starter home was a good idea, because that small starter home, over the years, as we planned and we saved and we built our savings, the home was also building equity. So the home was also helping to build the savings that we needed in order to move forward and buy the bigger home. So I think we lived in the small home for about 8 years, for a little bit longer than I anticipated. But nevertheless, we stayed there until we were so financially strong, to the point where we could still put 20% down on that new home that we wanted, as well as still have a significant savings in the bank. And so my point in saying all of this is where my budgeting journey began at the age of 25. Because no one taught me how to budget. No one taught me really how to save. No one taught me how to build wealth. It just gradually came because of the desires that I had. And so, yes, a part of that development of the wealth that we've built was the stock market. I didn't particularly understand it, but as if you have a spouse or a partner, each of you do what you do best. I took care of the after-tax dollars. My ex took care of the balancing of the stocks and the investment of the stocks. And so when you work together as a team, you can reach the goals that you want to reach. But if you're in a situation where neither one of you really understand how to build wealth, that's where I come in. And it's so vitally important that you and your spouse be on one accord, one page. So if you don't know how to budget, you don't know how to save, there's no way that you'll be able to invest, because there won't be any savings to invest with. So if you're ready to make a change and you say, you know what, I've got dreams, I've got goals that I've set for myself, but I don't exactly know how to reach those goals, those financial goals, I really need your help, Sharnella. That is what I do. So you can reach out to me by sending me an email, Sharnella@SharnellaClark.com, and let's have a free consultation to first find out if you're ready to receive coaching. Because not everyone is in the right frame of mind to be coached. And I only have so much time and so many slots available. I will only choose the people who are ready to actually listen, learn, and apply the skills and knowledge that I have to give to them. Thank you again for watching Financial Fix with Sharnella. If you have not subscribed to my channel up to this point, I would ask you to please do that. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything.